Welcome to the weekly crypto review. Today, I'm just going to cover the usual to see where we are. Bitcoin, are we nearly there? Um, and the Bitcoin dominances for some of these altcoins that we are tracking. This is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form, guys. This is just dubious speculation. Just a bit of what we see and what we share. Take it with a pinch of salt. Do what you want with it. Let's get into it. Okay, so we always start from the monthly chart, and I just want to show you something here. So you can see we are currently on Bitcoin at the 50 EMA. Okay, that's where we are. If you compare us to the previous cycle, 2022, 50 EMA is where we touched, right? Violated it a little bit, tiny bit, and we went slightly lower and then went sideways for about, God knows when, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 1, 2, 3, 4 months in a row, before we kind of formed the bottom and then off we went, right? Bitcoin is pretty rhythmic from the looks of it. It's just following the same old rhythm, literally, with slight subtleness to it, but not much. So you've got here at the moment, and you've got there. I think that if you just compare where the RSIs are, so if we just let's just put, if you compare where your RSIs are around the same time, so here, and just compare that to where we are. So you can see here your RSI, if we say it was somewhere there, that candle, we were somewhere around 38. So there was room to go. We already currently in the oversold territory on the monthly. Now you would see that you hardly go oversold on Bitcoin on the monthly chart. You will hardly go below 30. Okay, so it's looking like there is let's come back here. It's looking more like there is an opportunity here for a bounce, right? For a mini bounce. A mini bounce where it will take us, who knows how high it could go. I think a target wise would be maybe it comes back to somewhere here around 78, between 78 and to somewhere here around the 80, 88, maybe 90,000. So that box, if it comes here and fails, which probably is likely, then you get your final flush, right? And then you consolidate and then off you go. So there is definitely a bounce in sight, and you can see here that if you go and look at the RSIs again, so you went oversold there, you went oversold here again, but here you went lower and slightly lower, and then off you went, right? So let's step into the weekly chart and see what's going on in the weekly chart at the moment. What you can see here is that we have a system that is already bought some here and around the 69K, and it will buy again somewhere here around 50, 60K. It will buy, and then we'll buy some more, one more when we get to maybe like 58, 55K, somewhere there. It's just a DCA type of approach to buying the bottom of Bitcoin, and you would be there or thereabouts. So that started already triggering itself. We're coming close to the 200 SMA. So, and you can see the volume of the sell here, and you can see the volume of the sell tailing off, tailing off, tailing off, right? In a very similar fashion to if we go back here into the 2022 world and see what is going on here. I think maybe if I just, my indicators can go, okay, then I wouldn't see the volume. Anyway, ignore the mismatch on my chart. They all have a good meaning, but just ignore them. So what you can see here is you can see, look at the volume of the sale, huge volume. Look at the volume here, huge volume. Then you go lower, lower, and you have a bit of a move to the upside, then continue the leg to the downside. And if more importantly, if we compare what the RSIs are, where we are, so we somewhere here, it's where we are, and you can see where is the RSI. The RSI would have been sitting somewhere here around 34. And if you come and look at where our RSI is currently, it's way oversold, right? We are way oversold 24 at the moment. So historically speaking, it's probably one of the lowest RSIs that I have ever seen on Bitcoin, going 20, 25, 25, 24 historically. And this is the index going all the way back to 2010. So we are at a point on the weekly chart where you could get a bounce. All right. You could easily get a bounce at the moment because uh, all these RSIs are kind of pointing in the right direction. They could easily start flipping themselves up. So I do expect that there is a mini rally coming, and I think we'll probably just touch here to be about 58K, 58K, maybe 57K. I've got an alert of 57K zip there, and then get some form of a rally, a mini rally, which will come all the way, hopefully, to here, or to here, which is about the 90K mark before you get unraveling again. It could even overshoot. It could even overshoot this slightly to kind of trap a lot of people and then obviously cascade to the downside. So, uh, how eminent is this? You can see here as well, how eminent was I mean, it wasn't a big move. And then you can also compare we don't have any softening of the MACD on the weekly either. It's quite a huge sell here. So let's step it to 4 hours and see whether the bounce is imminent or not. So here, is there a divergence for RSI to go on? Don't think so. I don't think so. So, price is not gone lower in these points here. This point is about what, 62K. So price will need to go below this point here. So we'll be observing down 4 hours. Price goes below here and we get a bullish triangle, a bullish candle, then we'll be going up. So we'll be observing it on 4 hours, and even on 1 hour, we can be observing for the divergences that might be forming. We're getting some RSI confirmations here. We've just got a dead cross, which, we've rallied into the dead cross potentially, and we're going to dump. There is an interest candle here this is at 62,530. We need to go below this candle here. So, definitely one more zip to the downside here would be what we'd say. A long zip to the downside, taking us maybe to about a 58, there we go, 58, 57. And you start seeing some real change here. And then we'll be on our way to the mini bounce, which will come up. So that's what we're seeing on Bitcoin at the moment. So ultimately, I mean, if you want to wait, you can just wait and get a confirmation, but and the weekly will give it to you. I mean, actually, the daily chart will give it to you. If you go to 2022, go and have a look at your 2022. What you would see is you will get your confirmation. You'll get something like this here, or, something like that, which tells you actually, there's a divergence in there, and that clearly will tell you there's a divergence here, will tell you that, okay, yeah, it's time to go. You're going to get some fake outs as well. But so that's what we'll be looking for on the daily chart. Currently on the daily chart, we don't have that we do have some form of, push-ups on the daily chart, but like here. So you've got divergence here on this candle. We need another one. So this divergence, we need price to go way lower than this, create another divergence, and then hopefully we'll be on our way to going for the mini rally. So we are not far away from a potential bounce. So that's Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean that the end of the fall is here. We will be coming back down again. Wherever this falls and the mini rally happens, we'll come lower below it and create a divergence because if you look at where the RSIs are at the moment, it needs to go. Price will need to move up, do a bit of a rally, come back lower and be higher than these points to create your divergence. So there is more downside, and that downside is probably the one that will bring us back into the 40s, maybe high 40s, um, you know, high 45, between 35 and 34K, to anything to about, 50K, below 50K will be kind of the zone that, you would get for the bottom on Bitcoin, and that probably will come into the summer months. So if you really want the best buy, you just wait for that to come in, and don't get FOMOed when you start seeing Bitcoin at 80K. So that's Bitcoin. I want to co cover a few of the altcoins that of interest to us. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, you can see that Ethereum is going to go down. So, there isn't a clear divergence yet. So Ethereum is going to go down on its Bitcoin pairing. So you can see here, we've just been rejected of the 50 SMA. So um, chances are this thing continues its leg to the downside and comes to somewhere here and probably slightly lower. Um, the only thing is see where this RSI, see where we are. So it's more likely to come down. This will come down most likely before you get your relief rally on Ethereum. So here you're looking for one more leg to the downside to come. Um, on this one, which means your USD pair is going to likely do the same. So your USD pair will likely come down and give you another leg to the downside. 1600, I think will probably be between 1500 and 1600, where you kind of hit, and then you can get your mini rally on Ethereum. So let's look at RVBTC. So RVBTC as well on the weekly chart, you can see here we don't really have a kind of a divergence to go anywhere. So, um, this is most likely, although there's divergence on my fast RSI, is not on the slow yet. And there's an interest candle here, which needs to be exceeded as well. So this candle here needs to be exceeded. It's an interest candle. So Bitcoin dominance on Aave will go down, which means it will drag the USD pair down further to then go and create a divergence. I think you could get, a double bottom between this point here and that point there. And that probably will give you an opportunity to get your mini rally as well. So let's move on to Fetch. So let's have a look at Fetch and see what's going on this one. So we have a kind of so again, we don't really have a divergence yet on the RSI. So here is the low point. Price has not gone lower. Have we gone lower here? Let's see. We haven't been able to go lower yet on this side. So I'd expect this to come down. Maybe you could get 161 on the Bitcoin pair, or even slightly lower, which might bring you somewhere down here before you get the proper bounce on Fetch, which means that your USD pair on Fetch is also going to go lower, right? Price will go lower to maybe the 0.7, maybe 10, maybe, yeah. So between, 0.7 and, I think 10, somewhere there. It could even zip slightly lower than that before you get a very fast recovery back to the other side. So maybe a little bit more falling on the USD pair or long Fetch as well. Let's look at IMEX briefly, see what's going on IMEX as well. On the weekly chart, yeah, you don't have a divergence yet on the weekly chart. So not on our RSIs, not on the fast, not on the slow RSI, fast RSI. Maybe you have something there. On MACD is giving us some form of a divergence. We do have some divergence on the MACD. But I think there's one more zip to the downside on this as well. Zip to maybe 0.08, 0.07 mark somewhere there, and it will be a very fast zip back to the other side. Same for I think Fatcoin. So we got Fatcoin as well. Fatcoin as well. It's gone lower than this interest candle. But RSI divergences, there's none yet on MACD, unless we say this and this, there's a divergence. And we don't really have a proper divergence between slow. We may be getting on a fast RSI. But yeah, there's more downside. I think this potentially could come all the way to 0.06 as well, 0.06, 0.07, somewhere there. Let's go to ICP. So ICP Bitcoin, so what we can see here, we had an interest candle here, it's been exceeded, and then we had a big move, and now we're coming back into it. We don't have any divergence whatsoever yet, as well. So if we go and look at the RSIs, this is the low, we haven't gone lower yet. So this thing will need to unravel itself and come down slightly lower, be higher than this point here, and then hopefully you're going to get your divergence here for us to go up. So not much has changed. You got your, divergences just keep playing out here, there and there and there. It's going lower and lower and lower. So MACD is also weak. Weakness in MACD is also there. So let's have a quick look at the USD, the USD currency, what's going on there. So we had a very good pump here, quite a good pump on the weekly chart. Daily chart, if we go into the daily chart, it's all being undone. I think they want all this candle. No, they want the liquidity on all this candle. They gave up. We've got an iceberg as well, roadblock. So this thing will have to reset itself. And then also you've got here to here, and you got here to there. There's some divergence on the daily chart, which is played out beautifully. So you might come back down again to about, I would say 190, 180, could go as low as, 185, somewhere there, or even to the 150s. 150, between 150, I guess, 150 and 175, 190, somewhere there. Price probably falls to, and we get a rocket up to the other side. Let's move on to the last two, which is Injective. So Injective BTC. So Injective is already giving the goose. So this is coming way down to, somewhere between these two boundaries. So the Injective price itself is also likely to come very low as well. Great buying opportunity. 250, $2. If you get at $2, even, as low as maybe somewhere here, 230. So anything at $2 is good. Above $2 is very good. You can see all the RSIs have rolled down. And MACD is also taking downwards. So the energy is not there on the daily chart. So this will go down some more. Render BTC, it's pretty much the same as well. You can see the energy is flowing down. Energy flow is down. I think this comes all the way down to somewhere here. This flow somewhere here. So which means your render pairs coming down to about, I think, $1. Anything under $1 would be a good place to start accumulating it on a spot back. So I think those are the only coins really I just want to focus on for now. So I will leave you here, and I wish you all the best. Have a good week, and ta-ta.